ENAUTO Section 3 Summary Challenge, Managing Configuration with Python and Ansible. Alright, which of the following statement describe edge computing? Alright, edge computing, it is a network solution that brings computing resources as close to the source of data as possible to reduce latency and bandwidth use. That looks like a correct statement. So basically, we have infrastructure and we have maybe a lot of end devices. I prefer thinking about this as like IoT, smart meters, or just smart boxes, something like that. And instead of and then these boxes, they would be collecting a lot of data. They might have some sensors. That data may be physical data, right? And instead of pushing all these amount of data, huge amount of data, because again, there are many boxes, all the way up to the cloud for processing these boxes, or rather some part of infrastructure which is close to the boxes processes this data maybe partially, maybe it filters something, maybe summarizes some data, and only sends a smaller amount of data to the cloud for kind of broader analytics and for storage. All right, so I will check other options as well. It is a standard unit of software that packages up code and all its dependencies so the application runs quickly and reliably from one computing environment to another. So that sounds like a container to me, right? Unit of software. It is a system of interrelated computing devices, mechanical and digital machines, objects, animals, or people that are provided with unique identifiers and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human-to-human or human-to-computer interaction. Is it IoT? Is it Internet of Things? Computing devices? Yeah, sounds like Internet of Things. It is a type of computing that relies on shared computing resources rather than having local servers or personal devices to handle application. This is cloud. All right, so the first option here is correct. Question 2. Which connection plugin does Ansible use to open the SSH session at the first task and closes it after all its running tasks are completed? It is called Network CLI, and that's the specific. It's not module, right? It's a plugin for Ansible, which I guess improves Ansible behavior, because without this plugin, what Ansible would do, it would open and close SSH connection for each individual task. That's the way I understand it. Okay, match the edge computing use case with its benefit. All right. Some types of data are susceptible to latency and require more real-time data flows. So there might be some boxes, IoT devices. It's a silly example, but think of a car, and it collects some data and it needs to make some decisions, like how to turn and where. And of course, when a car is just driving on the road, there is no time to send this data for processing to the cloud. So latency is a huge constraint. So that should be latency optimization then, right? Susceptible to latency and require more real time. Yeah. Balance and allocation of resources across the network. This is called partitioning. So resources can be kind of spread in a meaningful way across the network. Capturing only relevant data flows and transport. This is filtering, of course, and the cost incurred in sending large quantities of data is reduction in bandwidth. Yeah, this is a reduction in bandwidth actually, because it talks about quantities of data, and to send a large quantity, a large amount of data through the network, you need a lot of bandwidth. Right, so reduction in bandwidth is a concern. Okay. Which of the following Ansible modules manages the Cisco iOS configuration section? So iOS command, iOS config. I have not seen this in the lab, right? So there were just two covered in the lab. iOS command is used to basically collect information from device, like show commands and things like that. And iOS config is used to send configuration commands. All right. Which of the following commands is used to run the Ansible playbook? It is called Ansible playbook, right? And it's just one single command and two words separated by a dash. Okay. Which three of the following statements describe main edge computing focuses? All right, focuses. Implementing edge offloading for greater network efficiency. Edge offloading. So we basically offload computation from a central place, which is a data center or cloud, to the edge. Probably this is a good option. Instead of storing files on proprietary hardware, the edge computing provides a way to save data on a remote device. It doesn't make any sense. Proprietary hardware, yeah, no. It is used to process data that is not time-driven. Time-driven. What does it mean? Data which is time-driven. Probably it's not a good option, and probably it's actually opposite. So if we have some data collected by, let's say, sensors in the fields, and it is often actually kind of time-driven because we almost always want to see how this data changes over time, and I guess that makes this data time-driven. So, okay, it may mean something completely different, but that's the way I understand it. It refers to the use of various services, such as software development platforms, storage servers, and other software through internet connectivity. Software storage servers, no, that's not it. It's probably cloud, right? This is cloud. Lowering the latency between the end user device and the processing and storage unit to get better performance. Yes, so that's what it does, I guess. Lowering the latency between the end user device and the processing and storage. Yes, yeah. So when we have processing and storage in the cloud is far from the user device and latency is high. But when we have processing and storage closer to the edge computing, it actually, of course, becomes like it lowers the latency. Okay, perfect. Performing computations and reducing transport costs. And this is correct as well. As I said, filtering or data aggregation or pre-aggregation can happen in the edge, and only a limited amount of data will be sent to the central location. All right? And less data being sent, then less are the transport costs. All right, which of the following Ansible modules run command on remote devices running Cisco iOS? And this is simply iOS command. iOS command is the name of the module. It's not iOS commands. That's the way I remember it. So iOS command, and then next level under here, you write commands and colon, and then there goes the list of commands to execute, right? And by the way, with config module, it's the similar word which is used there is somehow, for some reason, different. It's called lines, but it's back, like a few questions back. All right, that's it.